So many parents want to make sure that they give their children every opportunity to succeed in school, sports, music, get into a great college, be socially well adjusted, and yet are not so concerned about their soul. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the excuse, well, they're just teenagers. It's what they do. You know, they'll settle down, they'll come back. I mean, really? Really, is that our expectation of teenagers? That they are going to go, and hopefully they'll come back. Well, and they'll come back when they have kids, that's what I hear. Okay, so let's just do some math. Okay, if we're talking about a teenager at 15 leaving, being rebellious, doing their own thing, and coming back when they have kids, let's talk about that. When did they have kids? Well, they're getting married later and later. They're having kids later and later if they have children. So let's just say, conservatively 30 years old, they're having their first baby. Okay, so then they want to get the baby baptized, but church really doesn't become faith, doesn't really become until they're walking around and now there's this responsibility, well, we got to bring them up in the church. That's what we did. Okay, so let's just say the child's 5 years old. So that's 35. So, age 35, they're having a child they want to now bring to church. So between 15 and 35 is the rebellious age that we so willingly submit to, that they are going to go through. 15 through 35. Do you know that in those years, the most critical decisions, lifelong decisions are made? Within those years, what career am I going to take? Who am I going to marry? What college am I going to go to? What job am I going to get? How many kids are we going to have? I don't know about you. I'm not going to lower my expectation. I really believe that God can work through teenagers. It was Paul that said to Timothy, don't let anybody look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. That's the standard I have. My standard is the same for adults, God's standard. And it's up to us to bring up our children in truth and righteousness. I believe we can raise children who people will look up to as an example of God's love and God's grace. And through the grace He's given us, we can impart that on our children. They will have the grace to live and to love and to follow. Let's not lower our expectations of teenagers. Adolescents, teenagers didn't exist 100 years ago. This is a term made up. This is a stage of life made up that didn't exist. Raise your expectations of your children, of your grandchildren, so that you can be Paul to your kids, and you tell them, don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but you set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Raise expectations. Your kids can be that example for others.